Hello everyone, I'm Ed Green, and this week I'm here to demonstrate some of the battery settings you'll find on your Android phone. I'm using my Sony Xperia 1 Mark III. Your battery settings may well look a little bit different, and you might find some of them in different places, but you should be able to follow along and get the general gist. So I've opened up settings, I've gone into battery, and let's take a look at what we've got here.
81%, about 21 hours, 46 minutes left, enlist.
That's fairly self-explanatory. That's my current battery charge and the anticipated time the battery has left based on my typical usage.
Battery usage, view usage from last full charge.
So we're going to go into here. This is battery usage, and it will show you, as it said, the usage from last full charge, and it will show you on a per app basis. And in here, you can configure certain things, which I'll show you in a minute. So I'm going to double tap.
Settings, battery usage, out of list. Navigate up, button.
And I'm going to explore to see what we have in this page.
81%, 100%, 50%, 0%, 1 hour, 1 minute ago, 22 hours left, enlist.
So that's obviously some sort of graphical representation of my battery usage. I'm not quite sure what that's meant to show me, but you heard it read various percentage figures as well as time increments when we went over that.
Battery usage since full charge, heading.
Now this will show me battery usage since full charge on a per app basis. So let's have a look at this.
Screen, used for 3 hours, 2 minutes, 15%. Aquamail, used for 50 minutes, 10%. Google Play Services, used for 1 day, 1 hour, 21 minutes, 10%. Mobile Network Standby, used for 6 hours, 30 minutes, 8%. Facebook, used for 53 minutes, 6%.
So you can see the various different apps and the amount of battery that they're using. Now what you can do in here is double tap and see whether the app is optimized or not. So let me talk a little bit about that. What you'll find is that many mobile phone manufacturers will optimize the battery. So they might prevent apps from doing certain things if they are being optimized, and that is generally to prolong battery life of the overall handset. You'll often find that cheaper phones will have longer battery life than flagship phones by default because one, they often have bigger batteries. Two, they are powering less powerful processors, and three, they have less demanding screens. So you may well get more battery life out of a lower or mid-performance range phone than you will out of a flagship, unless that flagship is heavily optimizing different apps. And even then, it might be outperformed. So many mobile phone manufacturers will optimize apps to prevent the battery draining too quickly. Particularly important, obviously, in areas where you might not have reliable access to power, which is in fact why some of those lower to mid-range phones do come with bigger batteries because of the markets they can often be aimed at. So in here, we can determine whether apps are being optimized by the battery. You may notice that if an app is being optimized, it might not function correctly. Notifications might be delayed. I'll show you another battery setting that can sort that out as well in a minute. But yeah, you will find that if it is not performing as expected, go in here and check. So let's see. I think we're on Facebook. I'll double tap it and see what options we've got.
Settings, battery usage, out of list. Navigate up, button. Facebook, enlist. 1 hour, 53 minutes total, 1 hour background. From left, open, button. Disable, button. Force stop, button. Manage battery usage, heading. Not selected, radio button, unrestricted. Allow battery usage in background without restrictions. May use more battery.
So if we wanted to do that, as I say, you might allow it to use both battery and data in the background if you wanted to perform instantaneously an app like Facebook.
Selected, radio button, optimized. Optimized based on your usage. Recommended for most apps.
I'm fine with this because I don't have Facebook pinging me notifications anyway. I like to use it when I use it. It doesn't need to do anything in the background for me. I don't have those pop up on my screen. I use the notifications tab in the app itself. So optimized is perfectly acceptable for me for Facebook. Let's go and have a look.
Not selected, radio button, restricted. Restrict battery usage while in background. App may not work as expected. Notifications may be delayed.
Yeah, so notifications may be delayed on optimized too, by the way. So it says they may be delayed on unrestricted. They may perfectly well be delayed on optimized. There you are. There you have it. Those are the options. You might have noticed that that dialog looked a little bit like the dialog you might get if you went into your apps list, double tapped and held an app and chose app info and then open app settings, or indeed just went into settings, apps and chose the apps. And it looks like that because that's what it is. You then go and choose the battery and you would get the screen that we got to via the battery settings. I think that's all I want to show you in battery usage. So I'm going to back out.
Navigate up button. Settings. Facebook used for navigate up button. Settings. Battery usage. View usage from last full charge and list. Stamina mode off.
We don't want stamina mode. We don't need our battery prolonged to that extent.
Battery care reduces the amount of time the battery is supposed to fully charge to increase the battery lifespan.
Let's go into battery care and have a look at this.
Battery care. Navigate up button out of list.
So battery care is going to be particularly useful if you charge your phone while you sleep. Maybe you plug it in overnight or during the morning if you work night shifts, and you want it to be at 100% when you wake up, but what you might not want it to do is charge at regular speed just to prolong the battery. So let's go see what we've got in here.
Battery care. Use battery care. On. Switch.
So I have battery care on.
Selected. Radio button. Auto. Your device automatically learns when you usually leave your device charging for hours, and it estimates suitable times to activate battery care and list.
So mine basically does it overnight. So I have it set to auto.
Not selected. Radio button. Custom. Set time range when you usually leave your device charging for hours.
So this can be helpful if you don't charge it when you sleep. Maybe you charge it while you're at work. You have it charging on your desk. You might go and do that. Or as I say, if you work nights and sleep a different pattern, you might do that.
Start time. 2200. Battery care is activated when you start charging after this time. Disabled. Target time for full charge. 0600. Battery will be fully charged by this time. Disabled.
So that's fairly straightforward. That's auto. Obviously, if I wanted to be able to change that, I would have hit custom, and I could alter those time fields in a fairly standard Android way. I don't think I need to show you that.
Not selected. Radio button. Always. Stop charging after a specified limit to increase lifespan. Charging limit. 90%. Disabled.
If we didn't want it done on time, you could just do it on the limit. So 90% is the charging limit. So it charges at full speed up to 90% and then sort of pauses and gets it to 100% by the time my target time happened, which as you heard was 6 a.m. It will explain that, I think, in the rest of this page slightly more eloquently than I just did, but we'll carry on looking.
Charges in a way that reduces the amount of time the battery is close to fully charged to increase the battery lifespan. Out of list. Your device will be charged at the same speed as regular charging. Charging stops at 90% if there is still time left until the target time. Charging resumes when target time is getting closer. Auto. Battery care detects when you usually leave your device charging for hours and estimates at what time you will disconnect the charger, the time your device is supposed to be fully charged. Battery care will not be activated if it cannot detect the time period when you usually charge your device or you change the time you usually charge it. Custom. You can customize the time range for when you normally leave your device charging, such as at night. If you charge your device outside this time range, battery care is not activated, but regular charging starts instead. Always. Charging stops when a specified percentage is reached to increase the lifespan of the battery. Setting that limit to 80% yields even better results.
Yeah, so mine is on auto and it's at night just because that's when it happens that I charge my battery. If you maybe you have lots of periods of long charges where you don't want to unplug it, so maybe battery care wouldn't have kicked in that scenario for you, but for me it does, and it works as I would want it to, but it's useful to have a custom option.
Navigate up button. Settings. Battery care reduces the amount of time the battery is close to fully charged to increase the battery lifespan. And list.
So there's just one more thing I want to show you in settings, I think, here in battery.
Battery share function. Transfer battery from this phone to another device that supports Qi.
So if you have wireless charging and you have another device, maybe you've got some AirPods or you've got another phone, you can set this so that your phone is effectively a charger for that other device. It's quite slow, obviously, but you can do that. I won't show you that.
Adaptive battery. Detecting when apps drain battery.
So adaptive battery I will show you.
Settings. Adaptive battery. Out of list. Use adaptive battery. Limit battery for apps that you don't use often. Off. Switch. And list. To extend battery life, adaptive battery limits battery for infrequently used apps. Your device will learn how you use apps over time. Notifications may be delayed for these apps.
Yeah, so if it doesn't think you're using the app, it'll limit its ability to use battery. I don't like that at all. I keep it off because some apps that it may think I use infrequently, I actually rely on the notifications. I never go into the app or indeed the notifications. I'm thinking particularly Sports Scores app. They will look infrequently used on my device because seldom do I open them. I set the notifications for teams that I'm interested in and then watch those notifications ping up. So in my phone's view, that is an infrequently used app. So, and I don't want obviously real-time sports score notifications delayed. So that, folks, is a quick tour of some of the features in battery settings.